We have you on via telephone as well as Denny. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, very good. All right, then we will call the Warren County Salary Board meeting of October 11 to order. Just to let you know, let's open with a pledge and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which represents one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I just want to let everybody know that the meeting will be recorded, and ask the salary board if there is need for an executive session. You have a quorum, I guess. So next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of September 13 meeting items. Could I get a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, very good. We do not have any old item agenda, any agenda items under old items, but we do new items. And as I mentioned before the meeting, in deference to the efficiency of the judge's time and her day, we're going to go ahead and move the creation of 2 positions in adult probation to the first item on the agenda.
Thank you. Mike, are you present? Did you want to speak first or would you like?
I can go ahead, Ron. So we had forwarded a proposal with the thought of eliminating a full-time probation officer to get, to rework the 2 positions that are the office manager and the administrative assistant within our department, to make them what's called probation aide position. They would take on further responsibilities that they do not currently have, and I had forwarded those responsibilities, and there's quite extensive. They would be tasked with providing assistance to the probation officers that currently don't do, such as collecting urine screens, processing DNA packets, running rap sheets, reviewing intake packets with the defendants, removing and replacing drug patches, and completing the screen downloads. The need for this would be because with the elimination of the full-time probation officer, we would be taking all those duties that that person did, and that was Shane's position originally. He was our scram officer, and those duties have kind of been consumed a little bit, but we really saw a need to make that more efficient. So with those added duties, we would propose the 2 position profiles, senior probation aide and probation aide, a wage increase from the administrative assistant's current rate of $14.59 to a new rate of $16.29 for probation aide. And for senior probation aide, from office manager, would potentially be the person to fulfill that position. She would go from her current rate of $16.29 as office manager to $18.41 as her senior probation aide.
And with that, just to be clear with everyone, it would also provide continuity within the 37th Judicial District because Forest County does the same thing. They have a probation aide. They have no support staff at this point, but a probation aide in that position.
Okay.
So it would also provide the continuity between the 2 counties. I know we're union, they're not, but I think that's important to recognize as well.
All right.
So for the purpose of discussion, I would make a motion to remove 1 probation officer position and replace it with a senior probation aide position at $18.41 an hour and a probation aide position at $16.29 an hour as presented.
Then I'll second that.
Okay.
So I guess I have a couple of questions associated with this. So I guess the first one is I'm assuming that the union's okay with this, and that because neither of these positions are outlined in the contract, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So was your intention that this would be part of the MOU that you guys presented, or?
So I was told this would not be a part of the MOU. This is a separate issue because it's a creation of a position.
That's right.
It is, but I mean, I don't care,
Yeah.
but I guess usually whenever we do something like this in another scenario, like the union might complain because, oh, these duties, X, Y, Z.
So So as far as I'm aware, and speaking with Mr. Huber, he is not opposed to it. He is not opposed to it. The only issue we have is that as a part of this assumption of these job duties, that probation officer job duty is not just split amongst these two. Those job duties are to be split amongst the other probation officers. Henceforth, the reason I asked for the raise increases with those probation officers, that was tabled at the current, or the earlier meeting today.
Well, at the very least for this, we wouldn't need an MOU for these two positions, so that would be a separate MOU.
Well, first, you would need an MOU listing these wages. We actually can't set these wages in this meeting because it's a collective bargaining agreement issue. That said, since the union is okay with it, we might as well just do it.
I'm fine with that too, I understand what you're saying.
But we will need a future MOU at some point that says, hey, there's these two new positions and these are the rates.
Right.
After this meeting, we'll send a memo to the union, getting their signatures that they agree to these two positions and the rates.
Okay.
So at the very least, the starting rate would be 1841 and 1629.
Can you remind me
Yes.
so your motion removes one probation officer but left the two existing other positions, so the motion should probably be amended to remove what?
The office manager,
Okay.
and I believe she's titled as an administrative assistant.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I made the amendment.
I'll second your amendment.
Okay. Any discussion? Call for vote. All those be in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so the amendment passed. Now you wanted to call the question on the overall.
Do you want to make a motion on that?
No, it stacks. So we just voted on the amendment.
Right.
So now the motion on the table would be the removal of one probation officer to how many total? Open positions, I know you're down.
Open positions would be, I believe it's seven.
Could be one less.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
one
one
less.
less.
One less.
Doesn't matter till it doesn't matter.
It's just one
You
less.
don't put the matrix together, Mr. Matrix, so you should know what the number is. Anyway, I'll call the question.
Okay.
She has to call the question.
I will call to question.
Point of order, whatever.
You all right, Pam?
Or if we count.
No.
I'm so lost. Yeah, so the first was to create two new positions, senior probation aide and a probation aide.
Right.
Remove office manager, remove administrative assistant, remove one probation officer, create senior probation aide at 1841, create probation aide at 1629.
That's correct.
So what's the second one?
So the second thing that we voted on was the amendment to the original, because Jeff didn't include them in the office manager.
To remove the office manager and whatever the other clerical position was.
Administrative
So could I
Administrative assistant.
then get a motion to remove the modification of the motion?
You just voted on that.
Okay, that's very good.
Okay.
So now we just need to vote one more time to pass the actual motion.
All right, so all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Very good.
Okay, great.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the meeting.
Positions are
Thank you very
created,
much.
fill them now.
Thank you,
Sure.
Thank you.
thank you. I'm disconnecting at this point, thank you.
Very good.
Are you sure you don't want to stay good?
I'd love to, but I'm in the middle of treatment court conference, and it's really good. I'm not going to miss any more, but.
Oh, okay.
When does that
Thank
take
you.
effect?
Now.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So the next item, we'll move to the top of the agenda then. The next item is the hiring of temporary deputy treasurer.
Okay, so, I submitted mine because of the version budget.
Yep.
In the treasurer's budget, we'd be able to hire someone, to get them acclimated so that Lisa, Barb, and I can focus on her training before I leave. So, I was hoping that we could post the position, go through the interview process, get somebody on board, and then Lisa and I can focus on what we need to cover.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, so there's a proposal here for a temporary position titled Deputy Treasurer. You'll see there that there's a surplus in the wages line item, and proposal to be used $4,236 for this particular position.
So I guess my question is are we expecting this to start after the election? Like, or?
I think, was it 2 months, November and December? Is that what your thoughts are, Denny?
Yeah, pretty much by the time we would get it posted and do the interviews and get somebody in, I would imagine it would be November, December. I guess as soon as we can get someone in. Obviously, I will have Lisa involved. I want her to be involved in the process because it's going to be her person that will carry forward. And this, obviously, this would be a position that would just go through the end of this year if you want to put a,
Temporary
I guess,
position?
yeah. So, and then, obviously, if the person works out, and Lisa, wants to carry them on as to her deputy treasurer, which I would hope would be the case, then it would just be, moving on forward and for her to have that person.
Okay.
I guess it doesn't matter because Danny is turning into a pumpkin in January anyway, so.
Right.
Okay, so I would move the creation of a second deputy treasurer in the treasurer's office. This would be a union position effective November 3 through December 29.
Okay.
I'll second.
Well, that would be my motion. I would make that as my motion if I can.
Sure, you can make that
Sure.
motion.
I'll second that.
All right, Jeff will second that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Very good. All right. so
Thank you
let's
very
get-
much for your support.
Sure. And then let's just do, since there's more than one position associated with human services, could we move down to this planning and zoning director wage for presentation here?
We can. Did you send anything to the commission for consideration?
We just put it on the agenda because we talked about setting the wage so that Michael is aware of what he's going to be making in the new year. Because he feels like he's in limbo with the unknown. He knows that Dan knows that he would like to promote him into that position. And it sounds like Michael would like to take that position, but he'd like to know what his wage is before January 1st.
So in fairness to him, to know what the job would pay, we wanted to come to the board today to discuss that.
Okay.
Oh,
Somehow I thought we discussed this before.
We did.
Well, yeah, because the ironic, the weird problem here is that, so this current board will set that maximum.
Right.
It'll technically be up to the future board of commissioners to set his wage, since that won't take effect until you're a commissioner.
right.
So to some extent, it depends on what you want, what you two want.
I'll let you.
If you want, you could go up to the maximum that you currently.
I think we
There's a
have
learning curve, and so I think in all fairness, start out below that level, and then as time goes on, consider increases as appropriate.
As outgoing, I would recommend you decrease it by 10%. That's what we've done in the past with other directors, but so take whatever you're currently making and decrease it by 10%.
So we'll put us to
About 54.
4. I think that sounds fair.
Okay, well,
Okay,
we
so-
can let the minutes reflect that. Of course, it's not an official decision.
Right, right. But I need, he's obviously wondering what his salary would be, and in all fairness to him, I want to come to him with a number. And then sometime here, we want to talk about the zoning officers' salary, starting salary rate as well. I don't know if you want to discuss that now or just wait for a future board meeting.
What is there to discuss,
Well-
I'm assuming because you haven't been able to hire someone?
Yeah. What we did are a few calculations out based on the union negotiations as to what we feel would be a fair starting salary for, we actually divided it into zoning officer 1, zoning officer 2. Zoning officer 1 would be the basics of the zoning officer, and then when the certifications for floodplain management are fulfilled, then move that person into a zoning officer 2, because it expands considerably with that certification. So if you base it on the negotiations of with the union, a starting rate for zoning officer 1 at $15.75 an hour, we feel would be fair. And then once the certifications are completed, it moves into that second classification, a rate of $16.69. Now, it's probably going to take about a year or so to get those certifications. So what we would be looking at right now is, I'm 99% certain we're not going to find somebody with floodplain administration capacity. And so our recommendation would be $15.75 as the starting rate, which aligns with the percentage increases that were negotiated by a union. I don't think the contract has even been distributed yet, if I'm not mistaken.
They're all in place.
They're in place?
Mhm.
Okay, I've not seen what the rates were for them, but right now, the position is being advertised at $14.85, and we haven't had any successful candidates yet.
Have we had any candidates?
We've had some candidates, but based on interviews, I just wasn't comfortable. It takes a special kind of person to fill that position. We'd like to bump it up about 90 cents an hour more.
Well, it's not on the agenda, so we can't vote on that today, but
No, I understand
generally
that.
speaking, that sounds reasonable to me.
I mean, it's not on the agenda, but it's something that I wanted everybody to start thinking about so we can get that position filled. And then afford Michael a little bit of time to do some basic training while he's at the same time training to step into my position as well. Now, he has been through the year, since he's been made deputy director, there's a lot to the position and.
Okay.
Okay?
Can I speak to that real quick? So, this position is currently in the union, and we looked at some, case of where this position was deemed to not be a union position, but that was overturned. So right now, we're talking with our labor attorney about the potential of it coming out, but we haven't, we have to go to the labor board for that. So I just wanted you to know that we were having that discussion based on them having the set policy and management decisions.
Okay, very good.
First, that would take months,
Yes.
so in the interim, we may want to include that in discussions with the union.
Right. Very good. All right.
Thank you, Dan.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
54.
54, yeah.
All right, so the last item on the agenda is the adjustment of wages for 2 positions in human services.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, as you guys know, there's some pretty big changes coming down the ladder as of January 1 in human services, right? Our 30-year deputy director is retiring, the SCA director and deputy administrator. So, with that, and with the strategic planning initiative that will be delivered to us at the end of December as well, there's some restructuring that's going to need to occur. So where I'm starting at, because I'm going to present to you guys at governing board next week on what the plan is for how I see it and for discussion, and for, whatever you guys, would like to, commissioners, out of the 6 of you, would like to pull apart, whether we want to, dissect it, whether we want, however we want to do it. But I need to put a plan together, for you to look at, so you guys can see what that looks like. So what's on the table today is kind of some of the base foundational work that needs to be put into place. The administrative assistant position, moving to what we would call an executive administrative assistant, her job duties will increase. I wouldn't say substantially, but rather substantially with the strategic planning initiative. She would be taking over, currently she's taking over a lot of our HR functions that are occurring in the building, which does move her into a non-union eligible position. So she's been sitting in a non-union eligible position for a while. So like into the strategic planning initiatives, she's going to be organizing the meetings, the agendas, the minutes. So basically what she does for governing board, she'll be doing as well for that council. And on top of all of the other things outside of her, what was her current job description that she's now doing. So you guys were forwarded that as well, and the things that would have been added to her job description. So, and I shouldn't say her, but just as the, as that role for that position.
That position is currently in the union?
And it's not.
It's not?
It's not union eligible.
Okay. So it's
The
not?
future position.
Currently it's not, and in the future one it's not.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
That's what I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's personnel and bargaining agreements.
So is this so you're having a retiree that's 30 years, are we taking some of those duties and reassigning them to these 2 positions?
That is coming in the actual restructure.
Okay,
This is what's already on the table and what's coming with the strategic plan and
Okay.
all of those functions.
okay,
And the reason that we're retitling it is because there are administrative assistants that are in the union in the county. We're going to make, this is a depiction that this is not a position in the county that is a union in any other facet.
That's
Union eligible. So that's the reason of retitling it. The rest is what was her job description to what she actually does and to where she's actually going to be going, is where the increase in wage comes from. And that is a midpoint. And so that, I guess, to interject with both of them, these are midpoint requested salaries for the position, right? Through the civil service. I don't know, because I'm relatively new, and this is the first time I've sat in this meeting, do you guys allow me to work within my midpoint? So these are accepted midpoint salary ranges, and I get to work within inside of those midpoints because I would budget midpoint in my salary structure, right? Because that's how I would typically do it.
So this would be setting the maximum.
This would be set, well, there's a maximum as well, but this would be the maximum range that I would be allowed to work within.
that's correct.
Okay. So that's how I would see that as well.
Okay, so this person, you would not necessarily set at an hourly rate of $21.79. You were requesting that would be the maximum that you would be able to fill the position with.
Correct, as duties increase.
Right,
So for the 2179, I see that as relatively, to be honest, if she moved to the midpoint, if that position moved to the midpoint, I would feel comfortable with that wage, only because I'm about to hand a bunch of things to that position, and I kind of already am. So with the elimination of one administrative piece, right, we're looking at an $80,000 a year salary. So we're not going to fill that. We're going to eliminate that $80,000 a year, and what we're going to do is restructure it with some raises in places in absorbing job duties, and they're going to get distributed out. I'm going to absorb some of it as well, quite a bit of it actually, and because I think we need, as I present to you guys, we need to build service delivery from the bottom. We've got people that, an average case worker's got somewhere in the 30, 35 range. We have people with 150, 200 people on their caseloads. These positions that are coming are vacant on our organizational chart. So like, I'm trying to hire old vacancies that are positions that were just kind of eliminated. And in the mental health department, when the last administrator took over, that was a complete restructure as well, because it never used to be like that. And so when we brought the CASP system back in, the old CASP coordinator had no caseload, and the family advocate as well was very small. Our family advocate position already has 60 new cases in the beginning of the school year. That's twice as much as any caseworker has. So I'm building a case aide into that. And we'll probably, a restructural piece too, will bring a bottom end caseworker in as well to carry another 30 on their caseload, or 100 potentially.
Anyway, I'll make a motion to change retitle the administrative assistant position to executive administrative assistant with a requested top line salary of $21.79 an hour, and the addition of a mental health caseworker supervisor position.
That position is currently filled, and we're not creating this position. It's there.
I'm sorry.
I
missed the check mark next to the existing
Yeah.
box. So, and adjust the mental health caseworker supervisor position salary from $24.17 to $29.29.
And that's a maximum.
No, I realize that's a large,
It is a
very
huge-
large 18%. That's just from where they are to the midpoint.
Okay,
This 29 is the midpoint range,
okay,
right?
so it could be
I-
less than that.
It was budgeted at less than that.
Okay.
So, but here's the deal with this person that's in this role, right? I know we need to look at the role, I understand that. But the person in this role created this entire program from scratch and gets paid the minimum amount that all the other supervisors get paid. This person created the program. It was under the jury health system umbrella. Previously, we took back the BSU, at the county, plus administrative case management. And here's the deal with this. So as this person has already done what I've said, the expansion on their end will instantly be 2 to 3 more employees that they supervise. And here's the real kicker. So the current programs that I have, except for this administrative case management program under mental health, are billable, right? In the ODP funding stream, I currently am only allocating 24% of the dollars that come from the state to county match, because they're billing out $200K, right? And that's not matched. And so what I'm looking at doing is probably creating a BCM program under the county again, because we're doing the work. It wouldn't take away from providers, because we've already got so many folks under our caseload that are BCM eligible. We're talking the 80% range, and we're not billing for that. We can start bringing in revenue. I've already done the entire, with other administrators, I've sat down face to face, and I've looked at their billing program for BCM under the county. It's really about me applying for a license.
Is this something that the specialists, strategic planning specialists were talking about when we were in that?
It's not. This is like my discussions with other administrators. And I think that would be proposed to you guys in the 24-25 fiscal year. But I'm trying to get these things in order, get the house in order before that, and also to just show that at some point, this position will be overseeing a billable program as well. So if that midpoint is set, then we know we can work in between that with growth of a new program, and that conserves the bottom line unmatched heavily, actually. So.
All right, did you make that motion for both positions?
I believe I did.
Can I get a second for that?
Oh, you did?
I think I do.
Jim, all right,
Now, if I budget with my fiscal, on increases in salary, do I need to come back to salary board anytime that there is that I want to build the next level into their position for salary range? Okay,
Anything that would be above what's set.
okay.
above what's at midpoint.
Right, yeah.
Right. Well, I'll be within midpoint, so I'm gonna
Very
stay.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second, any other discussion? All right, call for a vote, all those in favor by saying aye,
And
opposed?
And I do realize that I should probably be discussing this a little bit more before the table, right? And I get that. I'm chasing my tail a little bit, so you'll have to forgive me.
It's mostly that the Forest County Commissioners want us to deal with administrative nonsense of this, but they will want to be included in the bigger discussion.
Yeah, and that's why I think bringing it to the governing board, and I'm gonna send it all to you before that so you can kind of review it. Because I have to change the organizational chart, the structure, or the way the whole, and really it comes down to we're trying to, pull that admin salary out and use it in more service delivery and not in like us that are already sitting in the admin seats absorbing those duties, So I will have to bid out the director position for the SCA director, for Betsy's SCA director job, because that position under DDAP is required to only supervise one program at 40 hours, 37 hours.
that's one thing that's always confused me about us, right? Because a lot of the other counties have like an SCA that's,
They sourced out.
yeah.
A lot of other counties have sourced out everything over the years, and they're bringing it all back.
Yeah. Well, it's just
Quality has diminished, retention has diminished, the admin costs for private, entities, just all those other fiscal pieces for them. They've noticed that they can really,
There's like more bookkeeping and a bunch of other stuff that they have to do. Motion to
Very good.
adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned.